everyone, my name is Sarah, and today we're going to talk about the history of stuffed animals. So, how many of you at home have a stuffed bear, or a dolphin, or perhaps a bunny, or another kind of stuffed animal? So, when I was a kid, I used to have this little white stuffed bunny, and I just called it Bunny. I guess I wasn't so creative with the name, but I had it on my bed every single day from when I was born until I think when I moved away for college. So it stayed with me for a really long time, and it was kind of comforting to see this object that I was really familiar with. So I think a lot of people in their childhood will have their own personal history with a stuffed animal or a stuffed toy, but the stuffed toys themselves also have their own history, which we're going to learn about today. All right, are you guys ready? Let's start. Stuffed toys, also known as plushies, are toys that are sewn with textiles and stuffed with fluffy materials. So here you can see 24 different examples of plushies or stuffed toys that are popular in the United States. So you can see they come in all shapes and sizes. This one's a bunny, this one's a duck, I think a monkey, a lion, tiger, dinosaur. It's anything that you can think of. It exists in stuffed animal or plushie form. And basically, it doesn't really matter what it looks like on the outside. Usually, it's an animal or a person of some type, but sometimes they come in other shapes as well, like clouds or rainbows. It all counts. The only thing that's important is that they're sewn with textiles or fabric and stuffed with fluffy materials, so things that are soft and bouncy, such as cotton or feathers or another type of fluffy filling. Originally sold as a pincushion, German toy company Steiff created the first ever stuffed toy in 1880, an elephant made of felt. The company was able to create stuffed toys by using new technology for upholstery. So here we can see the pincushion that the Steiff company made. And actually, it looks like a stuffed animal or a toy, but in reality, it actually served a practical purpose. So if you look right here, you can see the little dots on the thing that the elephant is wearing on its back. They're actually pins. So especially in 1880, a lot of people would sew their own clothing or pillows or blankets, etc. And when you sew things, you use pins in order to keep the fabric in place, right? But if you just put a pin down on the floor or on a table or on a chair, sometimes you can step on it and it hurts a lot because it's basically like stepping on a needle. So what people would do is they would place their pins inside of pin cushions. So they're like little tiny hard pillows that you stick the pins in, and then you don't have to worry about stepping on them. So it's a good way to avoid disaster. So the Steiff company was actually the first one to make a pincushion shaped like an animal right here. So it's very interesting. It looks like a elephant. I think it's very cute. And they were able to do this by using technology for upholstery. Upholstery is a type of fabric used in the home, and it's typically referring to things like curtains or rugs, etc. So I guess they were able to use this new fabric technology in order to make this soft yet firm stuffed animal. A big trend for stuffed toys began after a stuffed toy inspired by a gray tabby cat called the Ithaca kitty became popular in 1892. Around the same time, the toy industry was experiencing notable changes. Instead of traditional rag dolls, toy makers such as Richard Steiff were choosing to make stuffed bear toys with material similar to fur. So here we can see the first stuffed animal that was actually used just for enjoyment purposes, didn't serve any kind of practical function. So it looks like this. It's called the Ithaca kitty. And Ithaca is actually a city located in the state of New York. So New York, it's not just New York City. There's a whole huge state that exists, and in it, one of the cities is called Ithaca. So to my knowledge, back in 1892, when this Ithaca cat became popular, most people did not buy their clothes at the store. Instead, they would make them at home. And so for that reason, fashion trends spread a little bit more slowly because first of all, people had fewer clothes to begin with, and second of all, even if you knew what was trendy, you had to know how to make it in order to kind of fit in with the new trends, right? But especially around the 1800s and beyond, a lot of times sewing patterns on paper would be printed into newspapers. So to my knowledge, one of the newspapers in Ithaca, New York, it printed the design for this stuffed cat, and it kind of became a worldwide, or at least countrywide, sensation in the United States. So, very interesting. And so after the popularity of this cat kind of exploded, other people wanted to capitalize or take advantage of this new popular toy. So this toy maker called Richard Steiff, he's also a German American, I believe, he decided to make a stuffed bear. So I think everyone has seen a stuffed bear at some point in their lives. They're extremely popular. They're one of the most widely known toys on the planet. But actually, when you think about it, it's a little bit weird, right? Because bears, they're these huge, ferocious, sometimes even dangerous animals, right? And I think a lot of children would not have wanted a bear in their bed. It would not have brought them comfort. It would have made them really scared. But this all changed after Theodore Roosevelt, who was the US president, this cartoon of him with a bear cub, or a baby bear, went viral, I guess, in the 1890s, sense of the word. It became really, really popular. So Theodore Roosevelt, he was known as a kind of a manly man. He liked to be out in nature, he liked to go hunting, and he really loved exploring the natural beauty of the United States. And one of the things that he liked were also, hunting for and observing bears. So he because he had this reputation for, having a close kinship with animals, I suppose that's why this drawing of him and this cute little bear cub became so popular. So seeing the popularity of this cartoon, businessman Morris Michton helped to promote such toys by marketing bear-like stuffed toys as teddy bears, after being inspired by a drawing of Theodore Roosevelt with a bear cub. So these toys, they would use material that was similar to fur. So if you think about the stuffed animals that you had growing up as a child, usually they're not made just with regular fabric that's flat like this. Usually it has little hairs sticking out like that, right? So it's soft and it feels kind of good on your skin, and it kind of feels a lot like actual fur. And this technology actually hasn't existed for that long. Usually if you wanted something to feel like fur, you actually needed fur. So you needed to kill an animal and skin it and make it into something. This was very expensive, and sometimes it didn't smell so great, so not really something you want in your bed. But with the evolution of fabric technology, they're able to make cute little stuffed bears that look just like this one. The popularity of stuffed toys continued into the Great Depression, with parents making sock monkeys, or handmade stuffed toys resembling monkeys with old socks. So how many of you heard of the Great Depression? So actually in Korean, I believe it's called the 대공황. So it is a time in the late 1920s and 1930s when the American and the world economy was really not doing well at all. A lot of people were very hungry, there wasn't enough food to eat, there wasn't enough fabric to make clothes. So of course, it was very difficult for parents to provide toys for their children during this time. And as a parent, you kind of feel sorry in this sort of situation. You can't really afford to buy new fabric to make the toys, and of course, you can't afford to buy new toys at the store. So what a lot of people did is they would take socks, so like thing you put on your feet, and once they were not able to use them to wear on their feet anymore, they would recycle them and make them into these cute little sock monkeys. And so it's actually funny because this sock monkey, it was actually a symbol of a time that was really, really difficult and full of hardship for a lot of people. But it became so popular and iconic that now you can buy them from the store for like $30, which is I think like 35,000 won. I just find that hilarious that, people would just make these for free back in the day, and now you have to buy them at the store. I just think that's really interesting. But you can kind of see why. It's a little bit of a vintage and kind of cute feeling. So I can see why a lot of children and even adults would enjoy having these around. Alright, well that is all for today's video. I hope that all of you have a wonderful day and, perhaps spend it snuggled up to your favorite stuffed animal. Alright, I will see you again next week and hopefully you enjoyed the lesson. Bye!